Right up next for you. Please give it up. Out of the Broadway Comedy Club, Helene Witt, everybody.
Thank you. Wow, George Washington slept here? And I'll probably go home by myself, just my luck. You don't know me, do you? No. I'm not the left child of Barbara Streisand and Barry Manilow. I can't be, I'm almost their age. I just celebrated my 69th birthday. Thank you. And the reason I'm telling you that is when I was blowing out my candles, I made my wish. I wished for 69. I blew out my candles. So I'm a retired New York City school teacher. Thank you. I taught in the toughest school in all of South Jamaica, Queens. I mean, you walk in the building and you see the school colors, black and blue, and dried blood red. I mean, when we were young, we used to carve our sweetheart's name in the desk. These kids carved their sweetheart's name in their sweetheart. And the second grade girls in the classroom next to my second grade had a gang. And the initiation was to take the milk containers off of my girls' lunch trays. So I named them the half pints. The leader of the gang was named the Dairy Queen. Later on, I saw her on Facebook having trouble with Mr. Softy, her fiance. But yeah, my school was so tough. And you know, I love these politicians like the mayor. He said, everything that goes on in the classroom is a teachable moment. Like he could break up a fight, right? I'm 5 feet tall. Well, he could do it. So I'm breaking up this fight, and this kid says to me, he choked me terrible. I said, stop. You're using your adverbs incorrectly. He choked you terribly. Unreal, the way people think it's so easy to teach these kids. And we didn't get money for supplies in my school. So when I was teaching measurement, I brought in my bathroom scale, my Weight Watcher scale, and my cocaine scale. I'm only kidding. I never went to Weight Watchers. But they have an adorable tray for a banana split on top. Whoa. I'm imitating you, George. The wrong way. So yeah, I taught in a tough school. And you know, when we were young, I don't think there's anyone who remembers this, but the Dick and Jane books. Any of you read the Dick and Jane books? Okay. So they went like this for you young people. Run, spot, run, see, spot, run. That's how the books were, you know, the readers were used. This is how I had to teach these kids how to read. Run, spot, run. Dick's got a gun. Spot is a pit bull. Run, teacher, run. And those were the 10th graders. Stephen Jefferson once melted crayons on the radiator in my classroom. Guess what he grew up to be? A methadone, crack cocaine, meth dealer. Yeah. I didn't teach him that. I didn't. So famous people went to my school. I am proud of that. And a Fox 5 newswoman, she's been on the news station forever. She's very famous. 2 NFL stars went to my school. And the ATM bandit didn't graduate, but he was a student in my school. He wasn't good at math, but either was I. I didn't teach him that. So there's something new in the classrooms these days, and I'm so glad I'm not teaching anymore. It's called the participation trophies. Have you heard of these? Well, for those who haven't, it's every child gets a trophy just for showing up at school. So I'm thinking, I could have used that on my honeymoon. In fact, I was married twice. I could have used it on both honeymoons. Because they showed up and participated, but very little was accomplished. The first time I was married to a Jewish guy. And then a few years later, I was married to a Chinese guy. So people say, what's the difference? No difference. They're both I use the ly. I know my adverbs. Yeah, and when I was married to the Chinese guy, we had 3 New Years. That was cool. So the first New Year is the American New Year. You have your fireworks. And then you have Chinese New Year, fireworks. But for the Jewish New Year, where are the fireworks? Unless you eat my Aunt Esther's gefilte fish with a lot of horseradish, then you have fireworks. And when I was married to the Jewish guy, there was one holiday season that stood out from all the rest. And that was you might remember this, when Hanukkah and Thanksgiving ended up on the same exact night. My mother-in-law only had to come over once for dinner that time. So I'm getting older, and I try to have a sense of humor about it. I'll give you an example. I'm losing my hair. You can't tell I'm losing my hair, but I know where it's going. It's going to my knuckles. And we have this thing, I'm going to have to explain it to you young ladies. It's called the varicose veins. I rename mine. I call them the Google Roadmap to Adventure. This road takes you to the Sterling Forest, like the Silver Lake. Can't relate, right? And this road takes you to the Dead Sea, the Death Valley. But you young ladies, you can't wait for the change, right? You're like, I have cramps, I have PMS, I can't wait for the change. But what happens? The change comes along, and then you have the hot flashes, the mood swings. You know what I say? Menstruation, menopause, those were the good old days. The cuckoo on my biological clock is wearing Depends. You heard of the information age? I'm headed for the inflammation age. Yeah, I try to make jokes about getting older, and I mentioned I was divorced, and I started meeting guys after I was divorced, and one guy I met was from Brooklyn. And he was from, anybody from Brooklyn here? Besides George? You're from Brooklyn? Did you ever hear of Bragg Street? Well, he was from Bragg Street, but he had very little to brag about. I'll tell you why. His singles ad said he loved long hikes. Then why did we go to his building and he presses the button to go up 1 flight where he lives, if he loves hikes? They write lies on those ads. Then I met another guy from Brooklyn. He wrote on his ad, loves romantic horse and buggy rides. Hello, you're not Amish, you live in Sheepshead Bay. Around the corner from Bragg Street is Knapp Street. I think they both belong on Knapp Street instead. I don't know if you know this, but Woodstock is coming back. Do you know that they're having another Woodstock? They're having it this summer. I was at the first Woodstock, proud of that, and 50 years later, I'm going to the other Woodstock. But what a difference. They have the same rock stars, but there are a few changes. For example, we had a VW bus at the first Woodstock, and there was a sign on it that said, don't come a-knockin' if this bus is a-rockin'. You know what my band's going to say at the next one? Don't come a-fussin' till I've had my Robitussin. There was a tent at Woodstock. Any of you been at Woodstock? The first one? Just me. There was a tent at Woodstock. It was for bad acid trips. This tent, this time, is going to be for bad acid indigestion. 3 people lost their dentures. I mean, 3 people lost their virginity. Let me say that again. 3 people. I'm so excited that they're having another Woodstock, I can't even get my words straight. Heckler. So, I don't even know what she said. I have a hearing aid on this side, not on this side. I do. So anyway, 3 people lost their virginity at Woodstock. 3 people lost their dentures at the Woodstock coming up. And the last thing I want to tell you is Mick Jagger was singing Satisfaction at the first Woodstock. And at this Woodstock, this is the way all the rock stars do it. He's going to sing Satisfaction, and then when he gets to the part, and I try, he's going to go like this. And he's going to want us to sing to him. No, Mick Jagger, I paid $1,000 to be at this festival. You sing Satisfaction to me. Well, thank you very much.
Helene Witt, everyone.